You're listening to IDEO Software's Digitalization Network, a podcast created for those who are IT passionate and want to know all about the latest technology trends and innovative solutions. Join us on this fascinating journey through the world of digital transformation. A clear employee development plan, a system of promotions, or a good training process are all elements that influence staff commitment. The employee's motivation is fundamental to their performance within a company. Undoubtedly, a well-structured skills development program based on courses that allow the improvement of abilities and growth in the company is a determining factor in keeping the employee motivated and engaged. Today, I will tell you everything about the countless benefits of implementing training paths on an e-learning or intranet platform. Currently, there are high expectations and hopes for e-learning, which is one of the fastest growing information and communication technology sectors. For this reason, considerable investments have been made in this field. Many companies face constant personnel turnover, particularly during the recruitment period. According to information provided by Gromar, a company mainly dedicated to the implementation of online educational resources, between 16% and 22% of the population changes jobs voluntarily within a year. According to the trend reflected in 2021, there is no doubt that companies' branding activities can improve employee retention by 30% to 90% during their first year of employment. To effectively undertake employer branding activities internally, we must first focus on the process whereby the employer is tasked with supporting the new employee's introduction to the workplace. This process is known as onboarding. Many of those activities take place even before the day a new person starts working. This is because some of those tasks, such as completing tax or insurance documents, can be done by email. Fortunately, business owners now have greater opportunities related to training employees internally thanks to the continuous development of various e-learning tools. The Employee Training Paths module is ideal for this role. I'm almost 100% certain that you might be wondering what a training path is. Please allow me to explain it. This concept refers to a collection of educational company documents and subject-specific courses tailored to specific positions. In other words, it's a dedicated module for designing and managing individual employee development plans. Such a tool is a ressource implemented in e-learning and intranet platforms. Currently, the most common method is the introduction of an intranet platform combined with e-learning. The growing popularity of such a solution among medium and large companies has a reason. Thanks to the integration of these platforms, companies with hundreds or thousands of employees gain a simple and practical form of internal communication linked to staff development. Once implemented, each person has a preview of their progress to date, which is a table with results where they can easily assess the direction of their progress. Proper management of training paths is a strategy that has great onboarding potential. All paths created are permanently entered into the system, which eliminates the issues associated with repetitive implementations for each newly hired employee. Later, when a path needs to be amended, there's no need to build it from scratch, just update the content and materials. Each path should include a series of elements thematically tailored to the specific position. These will be differentiated about the function of the department and the advancement of the position. In addition, the module for managing training paths allows you to predict the most effective employee development plan. It makes specifying the appropriate time for the entire paths and specific stages much simpler and more certain. The framework is estimated, taking into account the difficulty of the plan, as well as the number of elements. The different stages of the training path must be matched to the relevant positions, even if that only means taking into account their different characteristics and the industry-specific nature of training provided exclusively for specific audiences. Nonetheless, some elements of company-wide knowledge, for example, health and safety training, may be duplicated in different departments and positions. This is especially important when conducting internal recruitment, where working people may move between departments within the company. In the Training Paths module, you can keep all the necessary information on the individually traveled stages. When an employee wants to move, for example, from the marketing team to the sales department, he or she will automatically skip the stage that occurs again on the new path and is already marked as completed. This will speed up the process of the employee's execution of the entire path. Now, let's talk about the effectiveness of the training path model compared to the individual training courses. Learning and development is a major area to exercise control over human resources. To have clear internal communication, each employee should know how this process is taking place in the company. A determined development plan generates visible changes in the performance of individuals or groups, as well as better communication of one's observations and knowledge. If an employee is given insight into the planned training schedule, it will have a positive impact on his performance of duties. He will easily organize his working time designated for taking the training path among the rest of his scheduled tasks. When employee training is placed irregularly and unsystematically, organizational confusion can occur. In addition to this, when we add multiple pieces of training to an employee at one time, without setting timeframes or exact deadlines for the completion of each stage, it will lead to the demolition of his private work schedule. Therefore, it's probable that the employee's efficiency decreases. Now, it's time to discuss the benefits in terms of employer branding. Deloitte conducted a survey showing that a sense of belonging has a key impact on results and efficiency. This was based on the opinion of 95% of the people who answered the survey. Through the use of the Training Paths module, employees are provided with a clear and detailed development schedule, along with the required materials for obtaining the right competencies for their current position. Implementing such measures communicates to the employer that staff education and involvement are highly valued. With the help of the training path, various surveys and tests can also be used. This allows the company to identify the strengths of the people employed. The conclusion is that it's easier to decide who can be promoted. We shouldn't forget how important word-of-mouth marketing is. How an employer engages in the development of its employees will impact the internal perception of the brand. Thanks to this research, we can learn that about 69% of candidates will not apply to a company with a poor reputation, even when they aren't currently employed anywhere. But if all that we have mentioned so far is not enough, this tool also offers a unified login system. The most common solution is to implement an intranet platform integrated with an e-learning system, which gives the company measurably greater functional potential. An ideal example is the possibility of uniform login to internal modules and systems by every employee of a given company. The platforms use a directory of AD users, so all logins are done with one set of individual data for each person employed. This eliminates the risk of losing, forgetting, or misplacing one of the many passwords held, and therefore the need for administrators to get involved if access to particular systems is blocked. Administrators add employees to the user directory, taking into account the assignment to their respective departments, teams, and positions. Such a procedure, together with accurately entered training paths, makes it possible to direct an employee automatically to the intended development plan. As a result, this will reduce expenses and administrators' work time and minimize potential errors that may occur when assigning rights. Supervising the proper course of learning and development of employed people is very important. It's enough to assign the right supervisor to each path. For optimal results, it's recommended to match an employee from a specific branch of the company. This approach will ensure that their feedback on the outcomes is genuinely reflective of the job requirements. Another benefit of these platforms is that they can provide their users with general and detailed performance reports. Designated supervisors of training paths receive a weekly general description of employees. It's not uncommon for them to monitor the development of several or more people at the same time. Frequent analysis of detailed information and results takes too much time, so weekly reports contain only the necessary information. The supervisor gets a notification of the parts that have already been completed and a preview of what stage of completion of the next ones the employee is at. The guardian receives specific data on the employee's results and outcomes for each element of the plan. The individual overseeing a particular training program receives a detailed overview of the entire course's progress. This includes the employee's current ranking, total points earned, and other relevant information. In addition, employed people have the opportunity to customize for themselves an ideal preview of the current effects of training. They can do this in the main view of the platform. However, if the employer takes into account the daily rush of classes or the multiple meetings, a message schedule will be very helpful. Thanks to it, incoming notifications about how much time's left to complete the various parts of the path or about the appearance of a new element can visibly optimize the work system. While we're on the subject of customization and time optimization, the overriding goal of the training path is to implement the hired person practically and substantively into current and future responsibilities. The schedule of an employee's development path is most effective if you separate it into smaller, distinct parts. The employee begins the implementation of training paths and learns the applicable policies, the company's organizational chart, health and safety regulations, and a list of contact persons in case of various situations. He gets authorization to access company documents and undergoes a course on how and where to look for files. Finally, it's checked that the new employee knows where to find the documents he needs. Days are set aside for training, especially to introduce the specifics of the position. At the end of the week, the employee goes through several tests and completes questionnaires. Given the variety of stages in the training path and the characteristics of each training, the whole thing requires time variation. For this reason, in the training path management module, it's easy to adjust the execution time to specific stages. For example, it may take 2 days to get acquainted with the implementation content, and then the person can proceed to the next, more demanding elements with an extended execution time of up to 5 days. Several courses may be connected by commercial procedures of differentiated products, which allows one to link the topic into one whole. To remember and consolidate the acquired knowledge, it's necessary to take a few days' break between stages. During this interval, there's no obstacle before completing a survey or knowledge test. Employees can check their results at any time, the remaining time to complete the current training or have a look at the next ones. Before designing and preparing the structure and content of training, a comprehensive internal analysis of the company is particularly important. Without proper recognition of the company's requirements, creating effective training paths for the widest variety of positions is an unnecessary risk and a huge challenge. For the preparation of a dedicated module that will perfectly meet the individual expectations of the client, several basic factors must be taken into account, such as the organizational structure of the company, either flat or multi-level, the size of the company and the number of employees, the sector or industry of operation, relevant guidelines and objectives in HR activities, and, finally, the sphere of its activities, either domestic or international. Employee training tracks are a very valuable part of an intranet or e-learning. However, if you want to maximize the quality of your employees' experience with internal employer branding, it's worth combining this module with other functionalities available in the e-learning platform. In this case, gamification is ideal. Thanks to it, employed people can record their results or collect points. The results of people who participate in the same path will be visible in the form of rankings, which will allow for individual badges awarded to one person per month for the best score in various categories, such as junior salesperson or newly hired. In addition, the points add up to earn gifts or bonuses. Several steps are a prerequisite for successful gamification in a company, such as socially designing the game, engaging employees in gamification through a variety of materials, or using the competitive nature of the people hired. To sum up, we can conclude that there are several benefits of applying a training paths module to a company intranet or a separate e-learning platform. Those advantages include, for example, a clear structure for employee progress, increased productivity and commitment, identification of the employee with the company's values, time savings by reducing time-consuming repetitive activities and potential errors, saving administrators time, comprehensive employee development experience by combining various training elements, a system for verifying an employee's progress along the development path, and effective reduction of turnover of valuable employees. Employee training paths help invest in a clear scheme for employee development, as well as create a competitive advantage. Thank you for listening to Digitalization Network. If you want to continue this digital journey, please subscribe to our podcast and share it with your network. Remember, every subscription helps us create valuable content. See you in the next episode.